Hello, my name is Jim DeMail, and this is A Course in Miracles. Today's lesson is Lesson 8. My mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. This idea is, of course, the reason why you see only the past. No one really sees anything. He sees only his thoughts projected outward. The mind's preoccupation with the past is the cause of the misconception about time from which your seeing suffers. Your mind cannot grasp the present, which is the only time there is. It therefore cannot understand time and cannot in fact understand anything. The one wholly true thought one can hold about the past is that it's not here. To think about it at all is therefore to think about illusions. Very few have realized what is actually entailed in picturing the past or anticipating the future. The mind is actually blank when it does this, because it's really not thinking about anything. The purpose of the exercise for today is to begin to train your mind to recognize when it's not really thinking at all. While thoughtless ideas preoccupy your mind, the truth is blocked. Recognizing that your mind has been merely blank, rather than believing that it is filled with real ideas, is the first step to opening the way to vision. The exercises for today should be done with eyes closed. This is because you actually cannot see anything, and it's easier to recognize that no matter how vividly you may picture a thought, you are not seeing anything. With as little investment as possible, search your mind for the usual minute or so, merely noting the thoughts you find there. Name each one by the central figure or theme it contains and pass on to the next. Introduce the practice period by saying, I seem to be thinking about. Then name each of your thoughts specifically, and so on, concluding at the end of the mind searching periods with, my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. This can be done 4 or 5 times during the day unless you find it irritates you. You will find it trying 3 or 4 times a day is sufficient. You might find it helpful, however, to include your irritation or any emotion that the idea for today might induce in the mind searching itself. So there are a couple of comments that I would like to make about this lesson. I read it straight through because I wanted its continuity to be with you. But let's look at this to begin with. This idea is, of course, the reason why you see only the past. The idea that we're preoccupied with past thoughts. Well, it's because so much in our life is unresolved, and we're trying to resolve it through our logical mind. But this is really the fearful mind. This is not the mind that the Holy Spirit uses. The Holy Spirit will give you a rational mind, and therefore provide you with thinking. You notice that he refers to thinking as not really thinking, or irrational. When he says your mind cannot grasp the present, which is the only time there is, it is simply saying that when we think of ourselves as a body, and when we're thinking through fears, we're in the past. When we're in the present, actually, fully in the present, as you might be when you meditate, everything is perfect. Problems, conflicts come into being when you drift back into the past. The only wholly true thought one can hold about the past is it's not here. To think about it at all is therefore to think about illusions. So he's very clear about an illusion. An illusion is something that's over. However, for the ego and for the logical mind, it's not over because you may not have the result you think you want. The purpose of the exercise is to train your mind to recognize when it's not really thinking at all. While thoughtless ideas preoccupy the mind, the truth is blocked. Well, thoughtless ideas are again ideas that are based on the past. They're also ideas that are trying to logically deal with fear. The Holy Spirit would like us to be free from fear, but in order to do so, we must stop this rambling and allow her, if you don't mind me calling her, to give you a rational thought, a rational thought. It may be a thought you hadn't thought of at all. It may be one that you thought of that you just simply discarded because, again, it didn't give you what you really wanted or what you thought you really wanted. Because what is it that we really want? We want peace and joy. Every explanation that the Holy Spirit gives to us is the opening for peace and joy. Recognizing that your mind has been merely blank, rather than believing that it is filled with real ideas, is the first step in opening the way to vision. Well, that's a pretty challenging statement, don't you think? But look, in traditional mysticism, we read throughout the ages about emptying the mind of its thoughts and allowing a Tabla, raza to be given to God to write upon. Enjoy the writing.